Hello and welcome to this special episode of the Rainbow Roundtable. I'm your host, Dr. Dan Sheridan, lead psychologist for No Reservations and Safe Schools mental health consultant. Today we delve into a discussion filled with both gravity and hope as we reflect on recent events here in Florida surrounding the infamous Don't Say Gay bill and its significant impact on our LGBTQ+ students, educators, and families. This episode comes on the heels of a pivotal moment. A settlement reached on March 12th between the state of Florida and LGBTQ+ families, marking a critical point in our ongoing quest for inclusivity and justice. Over the past 2 years, our commitment at Safe Schools has been steadfast. We've mobilized through rallies, engaged communities, and led students in marches to the very steps of the Capitol in Tallahassee, shining a light on the discriminatory nature of this legislation and defending the rights and dignity of LGBTQ+ individuals within our educational system. Thanks to these efforts and the relentless spirit of our community, we've seen remarkable advancements. Free expression restored. Students and educators can now openly discuss and explore issues of sexual orientation and gender identity free from the shackles of censorship. Anti-bullying protection strengthened. We've enhanced the safety nets within our schools, ensuring every student learns in an environment free from harassment. Gay-straight alliances protected. These crucial support groups can now thrive, recognized for their vital role in fostering community. Classroom references clarified. The rich diversity of LGBTQ+ lives can now be woven into our educational narratives, promoting a culture of inclusivity. Non-discrimination assured. The dark cloud of discrimination that loomed under this law has been dispelled, affirming the dignity of all students and families. Extracurricular activities protected. LGBTQ+ clubs and events will continue with a pulse for life, nurturing a sense of belonging and community among our youth. In today's discussion, we will dive deep into the origins of the Don't Say Gay bill, explore the reactions from communities and lawmakers, and highlight how Safe Schools has been sounding the alarm from the very beginning. But first, I'm honored to introduce our panel of distinguished guests, each a fierce advocate and ally in the fight for equality and justice. This is Scott Galvin. He is the Executive Director of Safe Schools and the longest-serving LGBTQ+ elected official in Florida. Scott, what are your first thoughts about this historic moment on Don't Say Gay?
I was taken aback. I didn't expect that we would reach this moment for several more years. I'm a political realist, so I was looking at how districts are drawn and conservative legislators from here and there, but it didn't occur to me that there might be a court settlement that sort of brought a quicker end to some of the confusion. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. And we have Tiffany Williams, the Director of Outreach for Safe Schools. She hosts the popular podcast, Tiffany Explains It All. Tiffany, so Don't Say Gay. Explain it all.
Oh man, that's a loaded question. I mean, when that law came into action, I think there was so much fear for not just the students that were affected by this, but also the teachers and the families that are part of this community. And being afraid of are we going back in time? Do we have to now go back, into the closet? And now that we finally, after 2 years having to go through this struggle and fighting for literally our right, we finally have a win for our LGBTQ+ community. And I'm really looking forward to the conversation today.
Absolutely. I look forward to hearing more about what you have to say.
Thank you.
And then we have Artemis Cruz, a high school student in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Artemis, the news of the state settlement on Don't Say Gay. What was the reaction from LGBTQ+ students?
I don't think there has been a lot of a reaction because a lot of students still haven't heard or don't understand exactly what's happening. So this space discussing and informing people of the settlement is really useful for students and teachers.
Thank you, Artemis, for sharing that. And we have Kylie Summers, a teacher here in South Florida. Kylie, you're in the trenches on Don't Say Gay. What have your colleagues said in the first days after the settlement?
My name is Kyle. I use series pronouns. No worries. Happens all the time. I think we are still trying to navigate what this actually means. The settlement in 8 pages says a lot. And until districts produce guidelines, we don't actually know how any of this will be operationalized in classrooms.
Thank you, Kyle. And we have Harold Marrero, the COO of Safe Schools and a pastor. Harold, I imagine the state settlement on Don't Say Gay was exciting news at Safe Schools and for your mission of equality for students and teachers. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm just really happy that we can say gay again. And my thoughts are, that this, even though it's a big win for us and it's something that we've been looking forward to, I think that there's still a lot of confusion around it and something that we need to work more together to, dispel some of like what the language is and what actually will be allowed in schools and what won't be allowed in schools. Because now, this has to go through a process with the school system, and who knows what they're going to do. So I think the fight's not over, but this is a major win for all of us. So I'm very happy about that.
It's just the beginning.
Yes.
Thank you, Harold.
Yes.
So thanks to all of our insightful introductions. It's truly an honor to have such passionate individuals here today. As we move forward, we remain committed to this mission. In our next segment, The Future Outlook, we'll explore what Safe Schools has in store for our LGBTQ+ youth and educators. We'll introduce new virtual and in-person trainings crafted to navigate the complexities of our changing world. Additionally, we'll spotlight the launch of our in-person youth groups and events designed to create fun, safe, and inclusive environment for our queer youth to connect and find peace. Stay with us as we look ahead to the future, armed with the knowledge, tools, and community support to face whatever comes our way. In the final segment of our Rainbow Roundtable, The Future Outlook, as we navigate the complexities of new legislation and societal shifts, Safe Schools remains committed to our mission of creating safe, inclusive, and educational environments for queer youth, educators, and families. We're thrilled to announce the return of Empowerment Day, in partnership with local county school systems in both Broward and Miami-Dade. This event symbolizes our continued dedication to empowering our youth and reinforcing the importance of unity and understanding within our communities. But our efforts don't stop there. In partnership with No Reservations, we're launching 2 new programs expertly crafted to meet the current needs of our queer community. The first is Queering the Spectrum, professional training and development series for educators, mental health professionals, and nonprofit organizations. This program aims to deepen understanding of LGBTQ+ issues, enhance allyship, and promote health and well-being within the community and beyond. Secondly, the EmpowerQ Youth Leadership Program is designed for high school and college students. This initiative will guide young leaders in developing their skills in communication, empathy, resilience, and ethical decision-making. Our goal is to cultivate a new generation of leaders who are not only aware of their own strengths, but also committed to creating positive change within their communities. And perhaps most excitingly, we're also rolling out the in-person component of EmpowerQ as youth groups across Miami-Dade and Broward. In partnership with the United Church of Christ in Fort Lauderdale, St. John's on the Lake in Miami Beach, and the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Miami, these groups will provide a sanctuary for our youth, a place to learn, grow, and simply be themselves, amidst the beauty of our diverse community. These spaces are designed to be safe havens where our youth can explore issues of pluralism, diversity, and the upcoming challenges posed by advancements like artificial intelligence. More than that, they will be places of joy, friendship, and empowerment, where our youth can engage in civil discourse to learn to affect change, one honest conversation at a time. Panelists, as we look towards these new initiatives and collaborations, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how these efforts can shape the future of our queer youth and educators. How do you see the landscape changing with these programs? And what other areas should we focus on to ensure the well-being and growth of our community?
Well, I definitely would say that the in-person GSA club members, just getting to talk to each other. I've had plenty of students ask me, do you guys do events where you can plug us in with other kids from other schools? And I'm like, well, just because it's personal information, I can't really do that. But we can work on making actual events and days where you guys can come and meet each other and, make a new friend or, have somebody that looks like you, has the same story as you, maybe slightly different context, but knowing that there are people that you can communicate with and get to know, and essentially, again, creating community with each other.
Yeah. The in-person groups was the natural progression in what we were doing. We have great success with the digital programming, but we needed to have that human touch. We wanted to provide opportunities where kids could come together in person, socialize, have fun, just get to know one another. The settlement on Don't Say Gay this week cracked the door a little bit to where maybe we are going to be able to get back into the traditional school classroom spaces, but the law hasn't been overturned. And we knew months ago that we needed to move toward in-person things again. So we had to get creative and find places, churches, libraries, community centers that can't be controlled by school administrators.
Yeah, because what Don't Say Gay taught us is that the school system can shift really quickly and go from safe spaces to not so safe spaces in a very short time. And I think that for us in Safe Schools, what we want to do is to create these youth groups, these youth spaces that we can, not only can we make sure that the kids are learning and doing and having fun and doing something that is meaningful, but that will not have any sort of interference from outside groups that will try to ban them or try to shift what we're doing with them. And as a pastor, I think one of my strengths is that I have all these connections with these religious spaces, with these affirming religious spaces, and they want to be involved. And this is part of the intersectionality that we're trying to do, that we're trying to connect, older generations with younger generation, connects people of color with non-people of color, connect all of us that are facing these challenges, these issues, so that we can together as one community respond and become, voices of resilience when these things come up. And I think I know for a fact that religious spaces, particularly affirming religious spaces, are good places for that, because that is ingrained in them. That is part of their whole mission. And for Safe Schools to partner with these spaces and with community spaces and with other nonprofits to create this, these safe spaces for our youth is something that is very important, and I think that are very much needed at this point in time.
Yeah, I think it follows the freedom school model, right? Where public education is so much controlled by folks who may not be responsive to the needs of a pluralistic society, right? Having these sanctuaries for people to go and find community are critically important. And I think what I'm most excited about as an educator is having opportunities for teachers to understand what they are and are not allowed to do. School districts do their best to provide opportunities for recertification, right? So professional development so that certificated staff can remain certificated. But that doesn't always look like spelling things out in a way that makes sense when it's the legality of something that needs to be navigated. School systems have lawyers. Lawyers do not deliver professional development within school systems. So it's that game of telephone where Safe Schools provides that access point for educators to say, okay, I'm ready to learn so that I can step back into the forefront. I can be there for my students, and we can start to undo some of this harm.
Artemis, are there any programs or educational materials that you think adults or students could benefit from?
I feel like what Tiffany's doing and at Safe Schools, having that digital content being done is really helpful, especially when learning about queer history and queer culture. And also perhaps the possibility of establishing programs, in-person programs at libraries. I personally love libraries. They're a haven of content and a safe space really for everyone. And yeah, I would love to see more happening at libraries.
I got a question for you. Where would you, if you were to go to a queer prom, where would be the ideal setting for a queer prom, and where would be a not there setting for a queer prom?
I don't know actually.
Okay.
So I mean, I agree with you with the library thing. I think libraries are often overlooked spaces that should make their way back into the American ethos and the American, way of doing things in community. I also love public libraries. I think they are these places of untapped potential, and yeah, we should partner with libraries more to do things. And that's an excellent point. And I know that people think of libraries are like, oh, like libraries, like the boring spaces, but when growing up, when we didn't have fast internet, or we wanted to just hang out on a weekday during summer, we would go to the public library. That's what we did. And it's not like it wasn't the mall, it wasn't anything. It was just like millennials went to the library and we just hung out and we did stuff. I was in a chess club. I mean, yes, I'm a nerd. I was in a chess club in the library, a Lego club, all those things, but they were there and I took advantage of it. So I think, there's so many potentials that we can do with public libraries.
And it was a safe space that wasn't questioned.
Right.
Yes.
It's like I'm going to the library. It's like, okay, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like in the library, there's a program right now called AV Club, and it's hosted by the wife of one of my teachers, actually, Catherine. She's really nice. And last time I went to AV Club, they were showing this film by a queer filmmaker, Kenneth Anger.
Mm-hmm.
It was very weird, but it was really awesome. And just like seeing that community, that community event, joining people together at the library is awesome. And I think there should be more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's also like just piggybacking off the independent filmmaking. There are so many independent films, especially in South Florida, that are being directed and written by the LGBTQ plus and queer people. And I think that would be a really great thing. Like Safe Schools has already done that with a short film called Gen Queer Z. And it's only like 20 minutes. It's a very short film, but it documents real students and their experiences and what does queer mean to them. And like basically kind of just explaining basic words that we kind of like use every day, but it's like, what does that really mean to you as a person? And like getting to hear like the wide spectrum from all of them. And they're all also, intersectional people as well. So it's like, I think we're trying to do like, there should be a balance of like in person, because we need that human connection with each other. And I think also having that art form of like social media and movies and TV shows and music, things to kind of like be like two different assets, but we can bring them together because everybody likes movies, everybody likes, music and stuff like that. And getting to just talk about it, and being like, yeah, I saw this really weird film, but like I really liked it. And like you get to tell other friends, even if they're not part of the community, and like actually having a discussion and being like, you know what, I agree with you. It had like its weird moments, but I like the undertone that it had, And I think that would be even expanding more on like the community itself of like just getting to know everybody.
Yeah.
And seeing like, okay, like I'm gonna help you out here. And like later on, like they could like come back and be like, hey, like I want to help you out with your project, or and I think that's again like that's just a stepping point.
Yeah, and I think something that we're doing with Safe Schools that is really close to my heart is this partnership with young kids and actually empowering students to do their own TV shows, to do their own things. We did this. Our first attempt was with David, who is a local high school student, and he came to us with the project. He's like, hey, I have this idea for the Nine Foundation. I want to do something about it. What can I do? He was talking about a PowerPoint. And I'm like, no. No PowerPoints. Let's make you a show. Let's do a show with you. And he wrote it. He wrote the scripts. He wrote everything. And all I did was just guide him and help him out and film him and edit him. And it looks so good. And he's getting more comfortable with it. He wants to do more shows. He wants to do his season 2. He wants to touch on some really good subjects that no one talks about, but it's happening. And it's not just David. Like we want to open this up to all the schools. If you have a project, if you have something that a student that likes, that you have an idea, come to us and we'll make it happen. We have podcast equipment, we have video equipment, we can edit things, we have graphics, we have all these stuff that can really make your vision come true. And who knows, a lot of the things that have become mainstream in our LGBTQ plus community, like Diversity Day or things that we celebrate yearly, usually come from a college classroom or a high school classroom. So I want to empower South Florida kids or Florida kids, because we have this reach now to be creative, really like come to us with your ideas and we'll make it happen. And I think that's awesome. And we did this also with a short film in part of our program is called Make Socks Not War. And it was funny, it was like sock puppets, but it's creative and it's funny and it's something that kids can get behind. So yeah, that's really a major push also. And I'm so excited about our EmpowerQ and Queer in the Spectrum, because once again, we're going back to our basics. We're training educators. We're going to train educators in virtual spaces where they can get their master points, and when they can really like you said, learn what's happening and see how things are changing. And EmpowerQ is that we're teaching kids real life skills that they're going to need to navigate the world, that they're going to need to be better citizens in this pluralistic society, and teaches them how to exist in a pluralistic space. And that is so important. And I think that for Safe Schools to now take this step and to not just come back to our roots, but expand everything that we're doing, is going to really put us in that next step. And that it's a level up for our organization. And I'm very, very excited for that.